Hello everyone and welcome back to part 3 at DDLynn Designs, a unique twist in the ancient art of wire. So what I've done here, when we left off on part 2, I had mentioned to anybody that wasn't going to be adding a bead or setting a channel set stone to go ahead and finish their bail. So I've finished my bail and I'm just going to go ahead and use my fingers and I'm just going to roll it over. So I need to sit down and do this. I'm standing over my camera to make sure, because a second ago, it just timed out. I don't know what's going on, you guys. Anyways, we're going to finish all this decorative stuff after I figure out what I want to do with my bail. So I'm going to bring it around the back, get my wires out of the way. Got a lot of wires here because I'm not sure if I'm going to need more. I'm going to bring this up in the middle so I can decide on. Actually, I'm going to bring it around and up this side. So I can decide on what I want to do here. I'm probably going to tie off back here somewhere, maybe roll them in. As I mentioned, I don't draw. So here's a cool tip if you're new to this kind of thing. You want to bend your legs up. You can use pliers to hold the wires and bend them up. Just using my finger, letting the plier keep the wires straight. And this allows you to keep your bell more full and also set your wires against your piece. So I am looking at that and stinking thinking already what I want to do. I may bring some more around front. As I mentioned, the concept of how I'm wrapping this per the post I put up with this coming design is the same. I'm just ad-libbing as I go and, you know, just changing it. I'm not doing exactly like it because I don't have that piece here to just making some corrections here to look at, to duplicate, and I'd have to keep turning my camera off and I don't know how to add back in. It's just not something I'm super savvy with. So everything I do when it comes to videos is very basic. It may not be fancy like a lot of wire artists out there, but it's the tutorial that's most important, and hopefully we won't be getting a lot of blur. So I'm going to think about that, and then I'm going to come back and focus on my front because I haven't decided yet what I want to do here, and it kind of just comes as I go. I'm just trying to center up my wires. Push that down in there. I think what I'm going to do is cut these and then connect them off and tie them in. I don't think I'm going to bring them around front yet, but I'm always changing my mind. So up here, I want to connect these. You should have brought your wires down like I showed you on part 2. And I'm going to use either, thinking about a half round, I don't know. I'm going to swing these out a little bit more and turn your work around a lot, you know, so that you can see how everything's lining up. My stone's down in there really good. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm thinking about maybe having some 3-dimension where the wire is crossing over. So now I'm going to move this one and I'm putting my thumb right here at the neck, because that's where I want my wire to stay, and I'm going to rock this over. So let's take a look at that. Again, you always want to keep your flat side up. Can turn on you a little bit. So I'm liking that. So I'm going to rock this one out a little bit. Again, put my thumb down right there. And I'm using the tip of the wire to anchor it into the position against this wire. So that's what we're looking at. I'm liking that. I can already see these wires are going to be way too long. I don't know if I'm going to swing them around back, but I am going to cut some of that length off. So it dawned on me about halfway into this, once I started getting into the bail, that 15 inches was way too much, but that's why I'm using copper, not silver. So I'm going to cut those off Bring this one down a little bit more. I'm probably not going to need that length at all, but I want to leave it there just in case I change my mind. So now my goal is to tie these together. So I'm going to come up underneath the inside looped wires, and I'm going to use my 28 gauge. I got a lot of wires in my way here. They're making my eyes go bonkers. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to loop off on this wire. And the reason why I'm doing that is this wire is already secured. So I don't want to be yanking on my loose wires a lot. And here's a tip. If you can't get your wire underneath something, just scoop the end. See that little scoop? It'll make it a whole lot easier for you just to come up underneath it because it's naturally going to want to scoop up. Holding that down firmly. I don't want to yank on my wires and displace them. So I'm going to make probably 3. You know, I think I just realized I went in the wrong direction. It happens. Yeah, I want this to be up. So I got to cut that out. I need my loop. It's in the wrong direction, which means I'd be crossing over it. So I'll just cut it out. I wouldn't be doing that with silver. I would be maximizing every little tiny piece. Okay, I'm just going to pull this wire out. I'm going to go in this direction here. You see what I'm doing now? I want my wire to be starting up here when I slide it up so that I can wrap over as I'm coming down. So I'm making my little loop. There's one. Trying to keep this wire down here so it doesn't slide up. And there's 2. My third one will be as I come up underneath. I'm going to have to cut off this spool. I just realized I can't. Did I cut off the spool? I didn't. I can't work off the spool there. So I'm going to take about 10 inches. It's probably too much, but I'd rather have more than less and run out. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm sliding that up to the neck of where I left off with the previous weave. Then I'm just going to come up and I'm going to do, I don't know what pattern I want to do. I think I'll do a 2, 2. So I'll do a couple of these, then I'll do the other side off camera so that we aren't another 50 minutes into this. Want to do 2, 2, or yeah, I think I do. So I'm just doing 2 rotations over the 2 wires, and I'm coming up underneath where I started, and I'm going to do 2 rotations over these next 2 here. So I did 2 rotations over 1 and 2. And now I'm going to do 2 rotations, and this will be easier because I can use these tails to come up underneath it under 2 and 3. And it's catching a little, so I need to open that up. You don't want to fight your wire. In the beginning, you will a lot. It's just part of the learning process. It's just a wonderful, magical art. Need to snug that up a little bit. Come up underneath. So that's what we're looking at. And then I'm going to come back in between And I'm going to do 2 on number 1 and 2 wire again. Come in between these 2. Make sure they're not riding up on each other. And I'm debating on whether how far I want to go down, because I'm thinking of doing, you know, moving this one over that wire and maybe bringing this one through the loop here. It's just all in my head as I go. So let me think about this. I think I will come back under because I'm going to do some more wraps. Kind of liking that look. Do 2 and come back in between. Yeah, I'm liking that. Don't want my wire going off on a weird angle. So this is what I meant when I first started about, oops, I forgot I can't go underneath that. Correcting your work as you go. Because if we wait too long sometimes, we can't get back into it. You know, we can't access it. So let me take a look at that and see. How much more I want to do. Flatten those down a little bit. Let's go maybe 1 or 2 more sets. Oops, got that in the wrong spot. So I'm thinking, that's the beauty of freestyle, right? Thinking I might want to stop there. So I'm just going to leave this wire until I make up my mind, and I'm going to do the other side, and I will be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and did the other side, and I am thinking about moving these wires here. I'll show you in a minute. So I'm going to cross this over. I decided I do want a little 3D dimension. You can use your fingers, your hands, whatever works great for you. And I think, as you know me by now, I like to do a little bit of each side so that I have good symmetry. I'm liking that already. I'm telling you, I'm liking that already. And this is why I left this wire here, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I want to even up these right here on the bottom. So that looks good. I want them squared off each. So that looks pretty even, I think. Let's see. It's turning out to be really pretty, I think. So do I want to connect off, or do I want to run this wire down, Or do I want to run this wire over? I'm just not sure yet. Plus we still got the back to do. I think I'm going to make a loop in here. I may be cutting that wire off again. So let's start over here. You want to keep your flat side off. Yeah, I'm thinking this is probably going to be too much length. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I'll know in a minute here when I see how it looks and whether or not I'm going to like it. And everything is just personal preference, right? Okay, let me do this side. Oh, all these wires are crazy business, right? I just realized I have my plier in the wrong direction. That's why I wasn't getting that same curve on it. I'm going to correct all that anyways. I haven't closed them off yet because I'm still thinking about if I like that or do I want to change it. So I'm going to hold this wire down really tight. I'm actually going to use my needle nose because I kind of want it swinging back down and in to this. Not sure yet. So this one's just a little bit more too curved for my taste. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I'm going to cut this and this one. I'm stinking thinking about this. So I think I'm going to come. So I'm coming out between on top here because remember I said I left this wire. I think I'm going to go over this one twice. Then come up, let me do this, come up underneath both of them. And then let me do this one. Oh, I just realized I did that wrong. That needed to come under. I just need to make a correction here. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've swung this wire over, kind of mirroring this one here. And I'm thinking about tucking it in down through here. So I'm just going to secure this wire that we just scooped. I just made my loop smaller. So I'm coming up underneath it. Then I'm going to go around this one that I pre-shaped. Just want to secure it. Then I'm going to come back up underneath. And you can really do any pattern you want. Then I'm going to come around it again. I don't really want to wrap all the way down. You certainly can. It's not what I envision right now. And so I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to come around this one. Let's get all these tools and distractions out of the way. Then I'm going to swing this around. Then I'm going to secure off here. Come up under these. I'm just having a little nest of wires here. Where am I at? Oh, I know where I'm at. I'm not getting my normal light because the way the camera stand is, it's really a phone stand, I should say. Okay, I'm going to secure off then on this twice like I did the other one. And I'm going to take those off and secure my these down here. I want to do it down on the bottom. I don't want weaving all the way down. But again, you do whatever you visualize. So what do we got going here? Let me take a look of how these are wrapping over each other. I think I might want to run these wires down in here. So before we finish off the front, this is how I do things, you guys. I move around a lot. I'm done with this one here. So I'm going to do, if you've never done this, it's called snap the wire. You just wiggle, jiggle, wiggle, and it'll snap clean off right where it's coming out. And I'm pretty sure, I think I'm done with these here. Yeah. I'm going to do one more loop under the neck. Oops, I missed the mark there. Okay, and in here I'm just going to come in really, really close because I've got an opening on the inside of that frame. So you don't have to worry about that little wire sticking out. And this is keeping that back there for my bail wire because I'm not sure what I could use it for to tie off if I need it. Got a mess going here. Okay. All right, now it's looking a little bit more decent considering we had all those wires in the way, right? I'm still debating on this right here. Do I just want to swirl off right there? I'm just curious about that. Let me spread these apart. I'm going to think about that. So I'm going to go ahead and close off the back. And I'm just going to be doing some attaching. I think... So what I'm doing right now is I'm spreading my wires out, thinking about how I want to connect them to my back. I'm not going to bring them around front. For me, I've got plenty going on there right now. Again, freestyle. I'm going to connect these here. So I'm just swinging them out. This one's going to follow. Do we want to bring that through there, the inside of the bail? I'm thinking, see, I just see things and then it's like, oh, I know what I could do with that. Or do I want to bring this one on the inside of the bail? I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'm swinging these out, but I just saw something. Do you see the inside of my bail here? So, sorry you guys, this is what I do when I'm doing freestyle. Normally I'm not talking to somebody about it. Okay, let me think about it because I don't want to burn out on this video. I'll be right back. Okay, I just needed a second there. So I brought my second wires, right? There were 3 on each side. So we've got 2 in the bottom. Then I had my number 2 wires. I slipped them up underneath my outside 1 wire. Okay, and I'm going to cut those very short. I don't need all that length. And I'm just going to curl them up into the bail because I don't need all those wires back there to connect the bail off. And then I'm just going to get my needle nose, I'm hoping you can see this, and I'm going to roll them up inside and press them down against the bail. See that right there? And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And that just takes care of those. Like I said, I've got a lot going on in the back. I always try to make my backs as equally as pretty as the front. So I don't need all those wires. We've already got a ton of wires back there, right? And so, if you can see down in there, they're just scooped up. So these, with these, just going to hold this here again and kind of follow that shape. This one got a little bent, like a whole lot bent. Move that out of the way, get my finger in there and scoop that up a little bit more. I use my fingers a lot. So I want to tie them off in here. Just doing all my little corrections and adjustments. And I'm going to hold both of these. And I realized just a minute ago I should have had them both simultaneously. I want to get them in that curve there instead of doing them individually. But, you know, that's how we learn. We see something later and go, oh, I wish I would have done it that way. Okay. So I'm going to cut some of this length off. I'm not going to need it all. So I had a lot of excess wire here. But I'll use all that scrap. It will not go to waste. I'll make a chain. I'll do something. So, okay, let's do one side. Then I'll go off camera to do the other. So let me get, I won't be needing this up here. So I'm just going to do that wiggle jiggle and it snaps clean off. I am going to come, I think, yeah, I'm going to come on the outside this time. I'm going to make 3 wraps. Sorry, you guys, I had to pull my hand back there for a minute. I just want to get right here underneath this weaving. So I can connect that one in underneath there. So I'm coming in between these two wires, but I need to leave my length. So I'm going to manually manipulate that. And if you have to, so here's another tip, because I'm going to have to do it. So it's perfect to show you what I do. I'm going to lift up on these wires using a very sharp carving knife. It's very flat. Just lifting up on them a little bit so that I can get this wire underneath there as I'm coming back underneath, because I need to anchor off those base wires that are already secure. And I might have to come up. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let me come up higher. I'm going to have to lift these up even more. Need a little bit more room. I'll push those down again. There we go. I got a pile of tools over here that y'all probably can't see. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to secure this down. So that'll work great. And then I'll tie off up here. So I'm going to go over these two and around that wire there, my wire that was not attached. And I'm going to go back over. And I think I'm going to do one more underneath. But I need to secure off these two first. So I'm back where I was before. I'm just doing 2 sets of that weave to make sure it's really secured against this frame. Snug those up. And then wrap around this one more time. And then I'm going to do 3 rotations around that outside wire. So it's nice and secure. Then I think to complete it, I'm going to bring it in, but I need the room for both sides. So let me weave this other side. Yeah, I'm going to probably curl them in, one this way and one that way, but I want to have some working room. So I'm going to go ahead and snap this off. And I'll be right back. So I've weaved both sides. Now I'm just going to swing these down too. This one is not shaping up as much as I would like to, so I'm going to hand shape it. All right, I know I want to cut these because I want to make little tiny loops. So I'm going to bring that one out, that one out. I'm going to cut that right there, right at the frame. And I'm wondering if those are going to be too long. So let's make some loops. Where's my favorite brown nose? Looking for those. So I guess I'm going to have to use these. I'm smashing that tip down a little bit. I just want to loop this in to itself. And that looks like about the perfect length. It's not going to go anywhere. It's a tiny little loop, so it's going to stay put. And then this one I'm going to loop here, and I may connect it there as well. Yep, that's going to work great. I'm going to push those down. They're not going to go anywhere. They're really tight little loops. They're very snug against the frame. They shouldn't get caught on anything. And then these are either, I think I'm going to go this way first. And I may make the loop here and then connect it. So I'm going to cut at the frame. And we do the same thing over here. Those should be pretty even. So I'm going to swing them in really close, kind of right over that other loop, so that I can make my little loop. Sometimes you have to get far away from where you're going so that you can manipulate the wire. Let me take a look at that and see if that's okay. I think so. So do the same thing over here. Yeah, I think that's going to work out great. I'll close that off. I don't think I need to tie that off at all. There's so little wire there. And if I do, I basically wear everything and to see how it feels, what it's catching on. If I do, then I'll do that later. But I think right now, just for the sake of the video, there you go. It's all imagination. So I'm going to push these back in with my fingernails. And then let's finish the front. I'm still thinking about the front. Okay, I'm going to do what I was originally thinking. And if that doesn't work, then I'll change up because I still need to connect these to those loops there. I'm going to have to open those up and connect these here because they're too floppy. But I just want to see. So all I'm doing here is I'm bending the tip of this wire to give telling the wire where I want it to go. And I want to see, keep that flat side up. Just kind of want to get an idea of what that will look like as I push it down through the stone. Because I would have to bring it out this side here and then bring it back and wrap it over the frame. I wanted something kind of three-dimensional, and I'm certainly getting that look. So let me see if I can do this. I like that. I like that a lot. So I'm going to go with that thought that I had, and I'm just bending this wire. Basically, I'm setting myself up to tell the wire where I want to go so that I don't change the shape back here a lot. And then I'm using my hand to guide it and push it through. And then I'll adjust up here. I like that. I may just connect this wire to this wire, which I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to snap this off, that little wiggle jiggle. And it's definitely morphing into this incredible piece. I hope you like it, you guys. I can't wait to get your feedback. You can tell me what you're thinking. Actually, I should leave that open a little bit because I need access in there. So I am going to come off this wire here. Before I anchor it over the frame, I'm going to leave it loose so I've got some working room. And then I'm going to come under that loop. And I'm just using my scrap wire here. So now, see how I'm taking advantage of leaving that open a little bit so I've got some working room. Just want to make sure that this is down in there the way it's supposed to be. Okay. So I'm just rocking my wire. I want to pull those together really close. And I'm going to come back through. And I need to actually come through that loop, so I'm making a little bend so that it comes through the loop. So I'm not fighting the wire. Okay, and then I'm going to do 3 wraps. Just like before. On top, so I did 3. And then 1 over the center loop. I need to slide this down. Although I kind of like the way, that position that it was in there. I'll think about that too. This has got to be cut off, so let me, here we go. Actually, that's too high. Get behind it, get that tip off. Once I secure this down, there won't be any movement in that wire. If you're thinking ahead, that looks like it's moving. It is because it's not secured here. I don't work really fast, y'all. It doesn't resonate with me to work super fast. When I'm cleaning, I do because I hate to clean. And I know y'all know what that's like. Some people love cleaning. I don't. Although I like things super clean, it's just not one of my favorite hobbies. All right, I need a longer piece of wire. So I'm going to come on this one here. I'm going to do my wraps. I'll be right back. You already know what I did. Trying to not burn through a whole hour here. So I tried to avoid an hour. Looks like we're 45 minutes in, but I wanted you to see. I personally like the dimension. You know, it's 3-dimensional. So it's just different than always having our wire flattened up against a stone and always side by side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring these back over the frame and we're going to be done. So I hope you enjoy this, everybody. I really, I know I ask a million times, would love your feedback. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this firmly and I'm pulling it to the right. Same thing with this one and just gently to the left. I'm just setting the wire up. Want to make sure that your flat side is